The California War is sponsored by the Ohana Justice Center Charitable Trust, serving our Ohana since 2013. How did California become part of the United States? Chances are you would probably answer that question by saying that California became part of the United States because the U.S. won it from Mexico during the Mexican War. That makes California sound like a prize in a carnival, or that Mexico lost a high-stakes poker game. Do you really think California is a 100 million acre plush toy? My name is Hannah Miyamoto. I am a Californian with degrees in civil engineering, law, social change and development, women's studies, and sociology. For the next 13 months, I intend to use my broad, interdisciplinary background to help people remember how the United States invaded California 175 years ago, and how the people of California risked everything they had, including their lives, to try to repel the American invaders. This is the story of the California War, told from the perspective of Californians that lived in California 175 years ago. Telling the story this way directs attention on the Californians, where it should be, and not on the Americans, who usually get the spotlight. Telling their story this way also emphasizes that the California War deserves to be studied in its own right, and not as a set of minor skirmishes that happened while bigger battles were fought over 1,500 miles away, somewhere south of the Rio Grande. The next step is to remember that 175 years ago, although California was Mexican territory, California was effectively independent. Although most of the people reflected some mix of indigenous and Mexican culture, the people of California lived lives that were almost separate from the people of central Mexico, since slow sailing ships and the dangerous trek across the Sonoran Desert were the only ways to communicate between Alta California and central Mexico. Californians had to be independent because they had no one else to rely upon. Many histories refer to pre-1846 California as Mexican California, implying that since the people were Mexican citizens, they were loyal to the Mexican government, and then after the U.S. invaded, they meekly became American citizens and declared their loyalty to the American government. So how Mexican was Mexican California? Actually, not a lot. For starters, the territory of Las Californias was never a Mexican state. As a result, its citizens had no representation in the Mexican government, barring the right to elect one non-voting delegate to the Mexican legislature. Sometimes, the guy they elected never even went to Mexico City. That suggests how much value the Californians put on the Mexican government. Effectively, Las Californias governed itself with a Chamber of Deputies, or Cámara de Diputados, seated in Monterey, California. The chief executive officer of California was nominally a governor or gobernador appointed by the government of Mexico. However, twice in 25 years, in complete disregard for Mexican law, the Californians rose up and forced the governor appointed by Mexico to give up his office and leave. On several other occasions, the governor that Mexico appointed died of old age. Whenever that happened, the people of California elected a Californian to serve as governor, until the Mexican government finally sent someone new. This is why, when the U.S. landed troops in Monterey in 1846, the current governor of California was a Californian, Pío de Jesús Pico, and not anyone appointed by Mexico. Moreover, Pico had been serving as governor for over a year when the Americans came, especially since Californians, led by Juan Bautista Valentín Alvarado y Vallejo, had forced the last appointed Mexican governor to go back to Mexico in 1845. Incidentally, Los Angeles named Pico Boulevard and Alvarado Street in honor of these men. All that prior self-government experience is one reason why California went directly from being an American conquest to becoming an American state, without ever being part of a territory. Even the California state boundaries were set by Californians, and not by Congress. This is also why Athena, the mythical Greek goddess who was born a full-grown adult, dominates our state's seal. Even the red star on our flag, the one over the California bear, recalls our sovereignty within the Mexican and American republics. With such a long history of political independence and stable self-government in pre-war California, it should surprise no one that most of the 5,000 people in California resented being invaded by hundreds of men that didn't look like them, speak their language, or respect their religion and culture. In fact, it only took about 6 weeks of Yankee rule for Californians to rise up against their American masters, starting in Los Angeles. For the next 3 months, most of Southern California was free of American troops, until the Yankees brought more ships and men to conquer it all over again in January 1847. The history that most people are taught, to the extent they are taught anything about the California War, ignores how much and how many Californians resisted the Americans with every weapon they had, from cannons to spears. Conquering Alta California, the present-day state of California, took 7 months and many American and Californian lives. Moreover, the fighting only ended when the Americans agreed to conditions that Californians thought would help them preserve their way of life. So that's the history. Why is the California War important now? And more to the point, why should you care whether and how Californians fought the United States? First, all history deserves to be studied, especially if it influences our lives today. The fact that California is the largest state in the United States, with more than 39 million people descended from a vast range of cultures, definitely makes the process by which California became part of the United States important. However, the fact that California was involuntarily forced to join the United States also has great importance to California from the perspective of international law. Here is why. Since 1861, the United States has insisted that no state may leave the United States without first getting permission from the U.S. government. The official reason for this rule, in the words of President Abraham Lincoln, is that all state governments govern land that became American territory through either war, trade, or purchase by the United States. Since all the states were on land that was under the control of another country before they became states, unilateral secession is impossible. Even Texas was never truly secure from invasion until the United States sent its army and navy to battle Mexico in 1846. Moreover, the United States took responsibility for millions of dollars in debt when Texas gave up her independence. However, unlike Texas, most of the people of California never wanted to be part of the United States. The history of the California War proves that. In the continuum between colony and settler republic, California is clearly a colony, seized by the U.S. military and forced into asking for statehood, literally at gunpoint. This is the history that the California War will explore. The focus of the California War project will be a weekly series of short video productions, with each video examining the events that occurred 175 years before that week. This approach is modeled after the innovative the Great War Channel that presented the events and issues of the First World War on a similar week-by-week basis during the centennial anniversary of World War I. The great advantage of covering the California War week by week is that it provides ample time to not only mention all the important events, but to put them in perspective in a way that anyone will have time to watch, absorb, and discuss with other viewers. A weekly format even leaves time to profile key personalities, important issues, and historic sites. A chronological approach is also naturally immersive, by only revealing the whole story a bit at a time, like a good detective story. I can promise you that you will not believe where some of these threads will lead. Since I live in Southern California, many of the key monuments, museums, and historic sites relating to the California War are within easy driving of my home. However, your contributions to the California War through Patreon will help defer the cost of royalties, image use costs, shooting fees, research expenses, and other costs of producing higher quality programs. To allow you to support this project, a Patreon page has been set up to allow you to support this important project. Thanks to the assistance of the Ohana Justice Center Charitable Trust, a research and educational organization recognized by the Internal Revenue Service, all contributions to the California War Patreon page are tax deductible. Patreon contributors will also be invited to participate in special live stream conferences and other Patreon-only discussions. As a scholar, I look forward to discussing the California War with you. In addition to getting involved through Patreon, you can support this channel by clicking the thumbs up icon below and subscribing to this channel. Remember to also click the bell icon to receive notifications when we post new videos. So thank you for viewing this video, and remember to watch week 1 of the California War. Remember to click the like button and subscribing to this channel as well. Mis camaradas, viva California!